And we're joined now by Eric Mandel, the founder and director of the Middle East Political Information Network, which regularly briefs Congress members on foreign policy. Thank you very much, Mr. Mandel, for coming on here. What more can you tell us sort of about what's going on inside the American political system as we're seeing sort of one of the biggest foreign policy events that we've seen in many years?
Well, there's going to be some spin, certainly from the Biden speech that's coming up. But there's an expression here in the States, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. This is not going to be pretty. The repercussions of this are going to be profound, and they're going to be long-lasting. On a local level, you have now created a sanctuary for terrorism. You saw the leader of the Haqqani network being in Friday prayers. Pakistan, so that is going to endanger the region. In Pakistan, they may be happy that because they supported the Taliban, but the Pakistani Taliban in the local level could turn against Pakistan. Going a little farther out, which is more concern for Israel, how do the Iranians perceive this American ineptitude and weakness? Will they now increase or activate more of their militias, the popular mobilization units, to push the Americans out of both Iraq and Syria, which would be a big problem, obviously, for Israeli security? Will they again activate Hezbollah? And maybe even more important, with the Iran nuclear profile, with Bennett going to meet with Biden next week. Will Biden try to deflect attention from this Afghanistan withdrawal debacle, fiasco, and sign a JCPOA or some form of it in order to deflect attention and say that he's got now a foreign policy gain? The one silver lining here is it's possible that the moderate Sunni states, the Gulf states, maybe Egypt and Jordan, will realize maybe their only reliable ally is Israel. And so the Abraham Accords, may, even though the Biden administration let them die on the vine, they could be good for Israeli security and for, in essence, to my mind, to American national security. And beyond that, America was supposed to be pivoting to the Far East. What message has been sent here? Well, the Europeans feel blindsided, especially being part of the coalition, so they now feel betrayed. How do the countries in the Far East that America was pivoting to feel about this? How does Philippines, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan feel? Do they trust America?
Yeah, that's a critical question, really, because the question is America a reliable ally? We saw that the Kurds were abandoned. We're seeing now that the Afghanis were abandoned. You talk about further potential, maybe withdrawals, maybe in Iraq and other places. And surely the other superpowers, China and Russia, are looking on and don't exactly intend to stand idle as all of this is unfolding. So
the Chinese, they feel they have their Muslim Uyghur population under control. They're not so worried about Islamism spilling out there. They think they're in control. The Iranians may become more resistant because they have a $400 billion deal with the Chinese. So the Chinese may feel good that America's been humiliated, that America's been weakened as America pivots, and the Chinese also are in good shape with Iran. This past week, and you probably have reported, is that the CIA director met with Prime Minister Bennett and told him that Israeli and Chinese relations maybe have to be paused or pushed back because that affects American national security interests. By the way, that's no surprise. Secretary of State Pompeo under Trump told the Netanyahu administration the exact same thing. As far as Russia goes, Russia's a little more scared about Islamism growing out of this region, coming into its satellites and maybe into Russia itself. But anytime America is weakened, it makes them look bigger on the global stage. So those either aspiring or former superpowers consider this a tremendous advantage for them.
Right, and you talked about how Biden is expected maybe to try to put sort of some gloss on the situation in this upcoming speech, as the administration has been doing in the past few days, saying the situation is not as bad as the videos that are coming out of Afghanistan. There still is a lot of time left for this administration. How do you expect Biden to move forward in the coming months and years after these Afghanistan events, again, to try to sort of show that his administration has some sort of legacy in the Middle East? Will he try to withdraw more troops from other countries? You talked about the JCPOA that's being tried to revive, maybe cut down on troop presence. There's a lot of things that he could do or not do in the upcoming months and years.
So I think we need to look a little bit at Biden. Biden is a liberal internationalist, all diplomacy, but there's never the threat of force. And the regional players know that America certainly wants to get out of the Middle East, but in general, think about this, America has not even responded to something it normally would have, the attacks on international shipping in the Persian Gulf. That just sends message upon message. So this is not just an isolated case of America's withdrawal here. And it's been disingenuous in the spin, saying we had no idea this was going to happen. The head of American forces, General Frank McKenzie, said that we are here, this is just this past July, we're here to prevent the reconstitution of Al-Qaeda and all of the other terrorist organizations. And if we get not here, that's what's going to happen. So it's not like this was a surprise. And the other part is a real misunderstanding amongst the public, amongst Europeans, that they thought that President Biden was this amazing foreign policy expert. But as somebody who spent a good amount of time over decades working in Congress, the longevity that one is there doesn't necessarily match the wisdom one has gained. When you look at a long record here, the most infamous quote is from former Defense Secretary Bob Gates, who said that Biden has been wrong for over 40 years on almost every national security matter. Biden was against the targeted assassination of Osama bin Laden, of Soleimani. He was the one who made the case that Turkey was going to show that Islamism and democracy can live together. He was the one who spearheaded, by his own words, the Iraqi withdrawal of U.S. troops, which led to ISIS. And he didn't listen to his own Afghan study group, which basically told him to leave a small force there. So, trusting. So you actually have two people from the Obama administration, I'm not talking about Republicans, talking about President Biden's credibility. One is former Ambassador Crocker, who says, I don't know if I can trust him to be commander-in-chief. Yes, I'm sorry.
Right. No, we just have to wrap up here because we're running out of time. It's a fascinating discussion, many angles to be talked about, a lot to unfold in the coming days and weeks. Thank you, Mr. Mandel, for coming on the show. We're going out for a short break. Don't go anywhere.